you dare be late. Right, today it is Tuesday. Every Tuesday we have Siasa Fiesta coming your way, where we slice and dice the political tone and tenor of the day, and of course trying to see where it is headed. Remember, today is a big day where we'll be having, as it's been put, a showdown in Parliament regarding the final debate on the Financial Bill 2023. This has become such a political wage that is dividing and polarizing the House, and we've seen drama, of course, on the floor of the House. Previously, we've heard from the Azimio side that they're going to make sure today the passing of this bill is frustrated. Talk about filibustering that will be happening on the floor of the House today. We'll be keeping our eyes there. And we doggedly follow also the development by the MCS, they have actually given the government an ultimatum of 7 days since they spoke. Today is 6, that their salaries be reviewed. If not, then the operations within the counties are going to ground to a halt, and a raft of other issues as well. Following off what we had yesterday from a CS of trade, this is Moses Kuria, whose indecorous words were actually flowing off his mouth yesterday regarding a nation media group and just the independence of media and also the advertising from government. Right, many people are saying this is unbecoming for a CS. And of course, a man of his stature should hold that particular office in high esteem and not really be indecorous in his operations. And this is not the first time that we've had a foul mouth flowing from the mouth of Moses Kuria. We shall be looking at that and more. And we're having a guest momentarily to take us through this debate in the morning. Senator Tabitha Mutinda will be with us. She's a nominated senator. Also, Dan Manzo, who is the senator of Makueni, and we're joined by the deputy majority leader of the National Assembly, Owen Baya. All right, let's put this horse as always at a full run, and we look at the dailies, beginning with the bold paper. This is what you're waking up to, the front page of the Standard today. Azimio plans changes to Ruto tax bill is what is headlining the Standard this morning. Azimio plans changes to Ruto tax bill. Remember, they were planning to come up with the people's budget. So that is the plan that is up their collective sleeves. Was it, or is it too late for them to really come up with these particular changes right now, that now we know today will be the final nail on this particular debate as far as the Finance Bill 2023 is concerned? Right, we shall be looking at what are some of the salient seminal points that they do have also on the plan, or the people budget, so to speak. That is the people's budget, and this is what is headlining the front page of the Standard today. The opposition has planned, I should say, a two-pronged approach to the finance bill, where they are pushing for 8 amendments they hope will get support even from Kenya Kwanza legislators. If that fails, the coalition will move to court to block the implementation of the new taxation measures. That is the story that you want to follow on page 6 of the Standard this morning. And remember, also we had the ODM chair talking about how this particular bill was floated. And it says here that the opposition is not opposing the Finance Bill 2023 just for the sake of it. We want amendments to be done to ensure that clauses that are coming up with taxation measures that will overburden Kenyans are amended. That is why we want our colleagues from Kenya Kwanza to also support this. And that is the sentiment from the ODM chair, John Brady. We have Kuria Kimani, who says, quote unquote, we have received 10 amendments to the Finance Bill 2023, 8 of them being from Azimio La Umoja coalition members and 2 of them from the government side. And they will be brought to the House, where members will be debating about them and then subject them to a vote. That is the Standard this morning. Right, and that will be just running you by some of the stories, as also we eagerly await to see what other dailies are saying. I'll show you, I'll just read the headlines, then moment by moment I'll take you by some of the issues that have been splashed on the front page of the dailies today. Daily Nation is Moment of Truth, that is a headlining story. The Star is big clash as the MPs take final vote on tax law, and also People Daily, sober up, furious Kenyans tell Kuria. Sober up, furious Kenyans tell Kuria, and that will be a nice point to actually give you a broad spectrum of what that story is all about. Now, let's just begin with a report touching on the independence of the media. The Media Council of Kenya, the Kenya Editors Guild, and the Kenya Union of Journalists have condemned Trade CS Moses Kuria over his attack on the media. The CS warned the government department against advertising with the media or face the sack. The attack followed an expose by the Nation Media Group alleging that the drop in edible oil prices was engineered by cabinet secretaries and may have led to the loss of 5.6 billion shillings in taxpayers' money. His utterances and a message on Twitter have caused a stir on social media. And our senior reporter, Rita Tinina, start us off.
For the better part of the day, Trade Cabinet Secretary Moses Kuria was trending on Twitter for the wrong reasons. First,
na nimaliza nyinyi watu wa media kusema Nation Media muamue kama nyinyi ni gazeti ama broadcasting house ama media house ama ni chama cha upinzani.
A statement made that the Akorino annual convention in Embu on Sunday came with a threat to government departments.
Na mimi nimesema kutoka leo hata sio kesho, idara yote ya serikali nitaona imeweka advertisement kwa Nation Media. Ujihesabu kwa nyumbani.
But that was not all. On Sunday night, he posted on his Twitter handle 22 words with one derogatory, unprintable, unrepeatable word. By Monday morning, he had moved on swiftly and joined the president at State House for the EU-Kenya Economic Partnership Agreement. But he was not done with the media. He posted a screenshot indicating that the value of the Nation Media Group shares had recorded a 10% depreciation at the Nairobi Stock Exchange. That followed by another screenshot of 10 advertisements in the Daily Nation by the Kenya Coast National Polytechnic and the Kenya Mortgage Refinancing Company, with the comments, "Not good." Kuria may have waged a war with the media, and journalists are not taking it lying down. In a statement, the Media Council of Kenya terms the remarks as shocking and unfortunate. The CS threatens public officers against advertising on NMG platforms with sacking, which amounts to commercial censorship and incitement of the public against the media, says the statement. The Kenya Editors Guild has demanded an apology from the CS. The KEG president, Zubeida Kananu, says to go out in public spaces to lambast and reduce the important work the media does to whorish business is the highest form of insult to media professionals in the country. The Kenya Union of Journalists, through Secretary General Eric Odwor, says, "We would wish to remind Mr. Kuria that he is now a cabinet secretary whose actions and utterances should promote positive image of Kenya as a nation." Kuria's remarks followed an expose by the Nation alleging that the drop in edible oil prices was engineered by cabinet secretaries and may have led the taxpayer to lose about 5.6 billion shillings. But it is not the first time that Kuria is not minding his language.
I'm tired of stupid media, okay? No. If someone accuses me, bring them here. Everything wrong that happens in this country is blamed on Moses Kuria.
His remarks in 2015, calling on the slashing of those opposed to the NYS in Gatundu, caused a stir. He was charged in court and acquitted of hate speech charges, and at one time had his Facebook account pulled down. In his tweet on Sunday, Kuria said, "You can still advertise auctioneers and funeral announcements. We will not stop those." Eric Odwor, the KUJ Secretary General, responded, "I can assure Mr. Kuria that the media will outlive his political career and will be waiting with glee to write his political obituary." It is not the first time that Moses Kuria is using derogatory words. Only this time, he is a cabinet secretary. Rita Tinina, KTN News.
All right, we shall be looking at that much later. Now, a showdown looms in Parliament today as the Finance Bill 2023 enters the home stretch in the National Assembly, as the Committee of the Whole House is expected to probe the bill further ahead of the third reading vote. The Azimio la Umoja One Kenya leadership in the House has already promised a spirited fight back on the bill after suffering a heavy defeat last Wednesday. where the bill sailed through the second reading with 176 MPs voting for it and in favor of it, as we'll be hearing from KTN's political affairs reporter, Emmanuel To, who has more.
After taking a hiatus of about 4 days, the debate on the Finance Bill 2023 is set to resume Tuesday, with the legislators from both the Kenya Kwanza and the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition expected to face off in a heated session. Already more than 10 amendments have been proposed on the bill as the bill enters the crucial stage of the Committee of the Whole House.
So far, the letters that have been written to the clerk and then the Speaker of the National Assembly, we have so far know about 9 amendments that have been done by several members of Parliament. And of course, you know, some of those amendments are similar to the amendments that are in our report.
By close of business on Friday, there were more than 10 members from the Azimio side who had brought up proposals to amend the bill. I know the number could be higher now.
The committee chairperson now says he has transmitted the proposals to the National Treasury to examine the financial implications they will have on the country's money collection, with a harmonization meeting slated for Tuesday morning.
We have forwarded these amendments to Treasury. We send them to Treasury for us to get the financial implication. Because remember, the finance bill is a money bill. And as per Article 114 of our Constitution, then money bills have to have the approval of the committee that owns the bill.
Out of the 9 amendments received so far by the committee, 7 are from the Azimio side, with the opposition promising to shoot down the 16% VAT on fuel proposal, alongside other more punitive measures.
We intend, through the proposals that we have brought forth, to remove the increase in VAT and revert to the old 8% VAT.
Introduction of this tax on employees for the housing, affordable housing on employees. What does this mean? It means that employees will cease employing people. Why? Because they will not want to employ more people so that they pay more to the government as they are taxed. So it means that there will be an introduction of capital, the machines, to do the work that's supposed to be done by human beings.
Alego Usonga legislator Sama Tandi is one of the members who have proposed amending the bill, where he seeks to have the deletion of excise tax on imported fish, reintroduction of VAT on helicopters, and the deletion of 35% payee ban for employees earning over 500,000 shillings. The Azimio team seeks to make a comeback to hold off the finance bill amendments days after suffering a defeat, where only 81 MPs opposed the bill, with 176 from Kenya Kwanza supporting the bill to move to the third reading stage. The Azimio legislators walked out of Parliament sitting Thursday in protest of the high taxation as soon as the CS for Treasury, Professor Njuguna Ndongo, rose to read the budget. Emmanuel To, KT News, Nairobi.
Still on politics, we now doggedly follow what is happening with the Jubilee Party, where the former party is still a member of the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition party. This is after the political party dispute tribunal issued orders stopping the Kanini Kega faction from convening any meetings or issue any communication on behalf of the party. Kega had recently written a notice indicating that the Jubilee Party no longer wants to be part of the Azimio outfit. Grace Nganga has more.
The former ruling Jubilee Party wrangle seem unending in an ownership war between a faction led by Iela MP Kanini Kega and another by embattled Secretary General Jeremiah Kioni and 3 others. Monday, however, came as a reprieve for the Kioni-led faction after the political party dispute tribunal issued orders stopping the Kanini Kega-led faction from convening any meeting or directives on behalf of the party. According to the order signed by the tribunal chairperson Desma Nugo, Kega is barred from transacting any meetings or issuing any communications on behalf of the party until a case filed by Kioni is heard and determined. The ruling says, and I quote, "Pending the hearing and determination of the complaint and applications filed, conservatory orders are hereby issued, restraining all parties hereto and or their representatives jointly and severally from issuing any communication and or making any public representations on behalf of Jubilee Party," end of quote. The complainants, Jeremiah Kioni, David Murathe, and Kagwe Gishohi, had petitioned the tribunal while challenging their removal from the party, seeking to be officially restored into Jubilee Party leadership. According to them, the decision to oust them for allegations of gross misconduct and non-adherence to the party constitution was illegal and flawed. The ruling came as a major blow for Kega, who had already issued a communique on the plan to hold a special National Delegates Convention, NDC, in the capital. Following complaints from the petitioners, the scheduled NDC slated for July 22nd will be determined by the final ruling of the tribunal on the party leadership. Already a section of Azimio leadership had threatened to stop the already halted bipartisan talks should the NDC take place. On the letter by Kega seeking for the withdrawal of Jubilee from the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition party, that too does not stand until a decision is arrived at, meaning Jubilee is still a member of the coalition. On June 13, Kega's faction wrote a notice to Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition party seeking to be removed from the deed of agreement binding it to the coalition. The faction said it resolved to exit Azimio during a National Executive Committee (NEC) meeting held on June 6, 2023. But according to Nungo, the communication does not stand, and I quote, "Further, stay in communication dating 6th and 13th June 2023, issued by the third respondent, in this case Kanini Kega, and any other communication and or decisions that may have been issued and or taken by any other parties hereto on behalf of Jubilee Party during the pendency of these proceedings," end of quote. The case is due for hearing on 22nd June 10 a.m., after which the tribunal will issue a comprehensive decision that will determine with finality who the bona fide officials of the Jubilee Party are and whether the decisions so far made by Kanini Kega can stand. Grace Nganga, KT News, Nairobi.
Let's turn the crack now to Matters Health, where Health CS Susan Nakumicha has suspended senior branch officials from the National Health Insurance, NHIF, that is, over alleged links to cartels that could have led to the loss of public funds. Those affected include staff in Meru and Nairobi counties. The CS calling on EACC to conduct speedy investigations on hospitals wrongfully benefiting from Kenyans' money. NHIF staff will also now be subjected to a lifestyle audit. Berlin Waleula has more.
For a few weeks, NHIF has been in the headlines for failing to pay hospitals and subjecting Kenyans to pain and suffering. As if that is not enough, NHIF is in the headlines again. After an expose of how hospitals have been defrauding the national insurer by preying on vulnerable Kenyans whose NHIF payments are up to date, Health Cabinet Secretary has unleashed her claws on the said hospitals who have been getting payments from NHIF by citing dubious treatments, yet they offered little to no service. Meru County was the main victim of the well-orchestrated scheme.
Had a meeting this morning with the chair of NHIF board and instructed him that they commence investigations.
The unscrupulous NHIF staff who are said to be working with the hospitals in Meru County and Nairobi to embezzle funds from NHIF have been suspended. The CS also said a lifestyle audit will be conducted on all NHIF staff to ensure all staff can explain their wealth portfolio.
All branch managers for NHIF in the affected areas be suspended immediately pending investigations. I hereby also instruct the Kenya Medical Practitioner and Dentist Council, the Pharmacy and Poisons Board, to commence investigations immediately and conclude within 48 hours on the following facilities: J. Kim Medical Center in Meru Central, St. Peter's Orthopedic and Surgical Hospital in Kiambu County, Afya Bora Hospital in Mwea Kirinyaga, Joy Nursing and Maternity Hospital in Malewa Street, Kamukunji, Afya Bora Hospital Annex in Wanguru, Mwea, J. Kim Hospital, Ngupu, Imenti South, Beirut Pharmacy and Medical Center, and Amal Hospital Limited.
The aforementioned hospitals by the CS will also undergo investigations, and if found culpable of defrauding NHIF, they will face closure.
Starting now, the facilities are directed to immediately transfer their inpatients and evacuate their process. This will allow KMPDC to commence their inspections.
The NHIF has been tasked to do an overhaul of verification of payments made and that they plan to make to avoid further loss of funds.
We are embarking on a verification exercise of all payments across the country to flag out any inconsistencies that may point to abuse of resources and theft.
On the other hand, those wanting to carry out medical camps should now get their permits from Kenya Medical and Dentist Council. She adds reforms and cleanup at NHIF will have casualties, but it will be for the better good. Belden Waliaula, KTN News.
Once come to another, where Operation Leader Ugatuzi Lobby Group is now seeking to have Interior CS Kithure Kindiki thrown out of office over alleged massive corruption at the Immigration Department at Nyayo House involving the government printer. They allege that the taxpayers might have already lost 450 million shillings on debt owed to government printer by the immigration and other unrelated programs such as Building Bridges Initiative, BBI, and subsidy fertilizer. Accusing Kindiki of lying to Kenyans that passport printing will resume immediately after breakdown of one of the printers. Willie Lusige reports.
A few weeks after Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki promised Kenyans that all the applications for new passports will be cleared within 7 days, promising that the ministry is also working towards making sure that all pending passport applications will be cleared within the next 21 days, many Kenyans are yet to receive their passports. The backlog was initially attributed to one of the printers, which broke down in March at Nyayo House in Nairobi. But civil society groups have raised a red flag over Kenyan shillings 450 million owed to the government printer by a number of government departments.
They say they have they have not been paid 450 million shillings from different government agencies, so they have no money.
The lobby group now wants the Ministry of Interior and the Immigration Department to explain the source of the huge debt, as all immigration services such as passport application, work permit and even marriage certificates are applied and issued only after the applicants have paid.
They are now denying Kenyans opportunities. Kenyans who are traveling outside.
The CEO of the government printer, Abdi Hassan, had revealed that the main reason for delayed passport, apart from all printing machines, was the huge debt of Kenyan shillings 450 million owed to him by state agencies, which are as follows: Immigration, 9,952,000, DCI, 21,700,000, Civil Registration Services, 61,303,000, National Police Service, 10,739,000, BBI 103,285,000, fertilizer subsidy 21,715,000, and Huduma number 2,320,000. Kenyans demanding to know the reason why BBI and Huduma number was owing the government printer more than Kenyan shillings 100 million, even though they were ruled to be invalid.
Fertilizer subsidy. Now, I don't know whether you print fertilizer. They owe the government printer 21.7 million. Now that BBI, which has been disbanded, how will they be able to collect these 100 million shillings?
The immigration accused of allowing Kenyans to apply for the 66 pages or 50 pages passports only to ask them to put in writing that they are forfeiting 7,550 and then applying for the 34 pages passport, and then they pay again. The lobby group alleging that out of the 300 new passports applied daily, 40% do forfeit their passport fees, which translates to 330 million per year.
If they know that 66 pages passports booklets are not available, why don't they stop people from applying? Instead of allowing them to apply, then you tell them to forfeit their money.
Calling on Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission to investigate a syndicate at Nyayo House that is colluding with the outsiders to demand for bribes as high as Kenyan shillings 20,000 to speed up the printing process.
There are those being asked for bribes as high as 20,000 shillings by officials at Nyayo House to get their passport fast-tracked. Yet they are saying the printers cannot work.
The civil group said they will submit their evidence to the Anti-Corruption Commission so that EACC can commence investigations.
Anything the government pronounces nowadays, people take with a pinch of salt. Tumetenga, tumeweka, tunapanga, na sasa tunapanga. Na tutapanga, na Mungu akikubali tutapanga.
Willy Lusige, KTN News, Nairobi.
All right, time to panga you also with the dailies as well. We head back there where actually we began with a standard where Azimio is planning changes to Ruto tax bill. This is what is headlining the front page of the standard this morning. The opposition has planned a two-pronged approach to the finance bill where they are pushing for 8 amendments they hope will get support even from Kenya Kwanza legislators. If that fails, the coalition will move to court to block the implementation of the new taxation measures. And I'd read for you before, if you're waking up right now, we can continue pace with it, where we had John Birdie, ODM chair, saying the opposition is not opposing the finance bill 2023 just for the sake of it. We want amendments to be done to ensure that clauses that are coming up with taxation measures that will overburden Kenyans are amended. That is why we want our colleagues from Kenya Kwanza to also support this. On the other hand, we have Kuria Kimani saying, quote unquote, we have received 10 amendments to the Finance Bill 2023, 8 of them being from Azimio La Umoja coalition members and 2 of them from the government side. And they will be brought to the House where members will be debating about them and then subject them to a vote. This is what Kuria is saying. On the sidebar, this is Moses Kuria, CS with a loose tongue, attacks media. Trade Cabinet Secretary is a poster Lefort Oterible of Kenya Kwanza government using uncouth language against people or institutions, pointing out government failures and scandals. You can read all the details about it. You had it. We ran the story for you, and we will see and ask questions regarding his conduct, very indecorous lately, and we wonder, does that particular unbecoming behavior from him warrant him to be in that particular office? Still on the front page of the Standard, Minister cracks whip at NHIF in fraud probe and terror attack as people sang gospel hits. Also, Kenya cuts imports duty on EU goods. Shabana's 17 years fight to top league. That is what we have on the teaser on top there of the Standard. This is how it looks. Also, still 16 new grave sites in Shakahola. Right, the ground keeps on popping up more bodies as far as also the execution is concerned. And we have Financial Standard coming handy for you today. Every Tuesday, global leaders, invisible hand in budget. Right, you can read all about it in the Standard. The Daily Nation, moment of truth. Moment of truth. And we have the flagger reading decision time. Voting likely to drag on into the night or extend to tomorrow's sittings. And this is what we have our expectations where Wetangula, Kingi accused. The accused first, they're saying the minority leadership in parliament has termed the 2 speakers unpopular for the decision they have made, which they say outrightly favor the Kenya Kwanza administration and argue that the duo cannot be compared to their predecessors. 176 is who voted for this particular finance bill. A number of Kenya Kwanza MPs who voted to pass the finance bill during the second reading last week. Also, the sub-headline that we do have here, numbers game, a fresh showdown is looming today in the National Assembly between President William Ruto's Kenya Kwanza Alliance And opposition chipped Raila Odinga's Azimio La Umoja coalition over the controversial Finance Bill 2023. That is coming up for the third reading, where MPs will vote close by close, even as minority side accused Speaker Moses Wetangula of tricking their members last week. You have this all laid out for you on page 6 and 7 of the Daily Nation this morning. While we ran the story for you, you can get all the gritty details granular there inside the Daily Nation as well. NHIF heist, Health CS sends officials home amid probe. Also, shock as Matatu drivers fail NTSA refresher test, and Ruto Gachagua plot to fix Wamashova. And also we can see on trade, deal grants Kenya access to European Union market. All that on the back page of the Daily Nation. Also, edible oil scandal. Media players call out Kuria for attack on Nation Media Group, and cooking oil, baby food, whiskey locked up as shoplifting surges in tough economy. That is on page 23 of the Daily Nation. The Star, big clash as MPs take final vote on tax law. That is what is headlining the front page of the Star today. This is the second reading. Finance bill requires only a simple majority to move to next stage. Azimio's troops to line up a raft of amendments to cripple Ruto's revenue streams. This is on page 4 and 5 of the Star. And all about NHIF, you can read all the gritty details there. Fighting corruption on page 8 of the Star. And Kenya and EU agree on duty and quota-free export conditions. This is a done deal, as you can see there. The Trade and Industry CS Moses Kuria and European Commission Executive Vice President and EU Trade Commissioner, that is Valdis Dombrovskis, during the signing of Declaration of Intent on EU-Kenya Economic Partnership Agreement at State House. All that tucked away on page 11 of the Star. Treasury slashes top state officers, 700 million shillings allowances, and Jubilee Wars, Tribunal bans Kanini Kega faction from Azimio divorce. And also in hot soup, Kindiki fights for Muranga's MCA in social media rants. You can follow that story inside the Star this morning. People Daily, sober up, furious Kenyans tell Kuria. There's a media star here, Trade Cabinet Secretary, derogative comments against journalists trigger widespread condemnation, with critics saying they pose an existential threat to the press and private enterprise. That is all tucked away on page 4 of the People Daily. MPs in dilemma as they vote on Ruto's tax bill on page 6. Raia roho mkononi, that is Taifa Leo for you this morning. Ingawa mrengo wa serikali unatarajiwa kuibuka mshindi, mswada wa fedha wa 2023 hajapokelewa kwa wema. That is the story that you want to follow inside Taifa Leo as well. Let's buckle down to some business, and we also hear from our guests who are already here in studio. Just a tender reminder, we're holding court with Dan Manzo, who is the senator of Makueni. Also, we do have with us the deputy majority leader in the National Assembly. This is Owen Bayer. Also, we're joined by Tabitha Matinda, who is a senator, a nominated senator as well. But let's see what's on Business Daily. Shilling breaches $142 as new CBK boss takes charge. That is a story that you want to follow inside the Business Daily this morning. Currency sheds 13.5% value to hit historical low, and traders link slide to demand-supply mismatch. This is what you want to follow inside the Business Daily this morning. And we have from Kibaki era deal-making machine into receivership battle. The story of Trans-Century has been ongoing. That you want to follow it on Business Daily. In Tanzania, who is the next CJ? They are asking. And also in Uganda, still in Tanzania, mkataba bandari waibua vigogo. And Daily Monitor, Night of Horror. Night of Horror. And this is all about the attack there on students. 20, of course, arrested over the killing of 42 people. This is happening in Uganda. King Mumbere 6 answers on Kasese killings. That is the story that you want to follow also inside the Daily Monitor. And in Rwanda, how Rwanda will affect or benefit from a new 5-year BAL deal. That is what we have on the front page of the New Times as well. And the East African this week, tough times. The East African citizens are bracing for hardship as states impose punitive fiscal measures to implement ambitious budget amid dwindling household incomes. That is a story that you want to follow inside the East African as well this week. And China Daily, finally, is all about Xi. Stable Sino-US ties needed. That is what we have on the front page of the China Daily. Basketball gives rural economies new bounce. That is what we have on the front page of the China Daily. Right, let's begin here. What Gado has drawn for us, and I just want to ask Tabitha. Let me just begin with Tabitha. Let me just begin with Owen Bayer, right? Due to how this particular editorial cartoon that has been drawn by Gado is. And this is just following Moses Kuria's utterances yesterday regarding, of course, media expose on the oil scandal or edible oil scandal on imports as well. And he says, oh, this particular, all right, this is, can you see the face patch there on the rear of the goat? Right? This goat is Moses Kuria. And he says, I would like to warn the media blankety blank. I think it's unfair to goats from Gatundo. That is what the small rat is saying there. Let's begin with you. In fact, I should run all these editorial cartoons because now they're centered on Moses Kuria. That is the standard today. The Daily Nation has, this is Victor, all right? The spotlight on Moses Kuria that was, of course, highlighted. And you can see we have the cans of oil there, barrels of oil, that is edible oil flowing from the store. And this is Ministry of Trade and Industry and NHIF as well. There is another one that is just about to budge open because of the scandals ongoing. This is how media has highlighted this. All right, and you can see also, this is what we have on Ozone. Ozone has done this today. The cabinet secretary, right? Secretary. And this is Moses Kuria with his tongue wrapped around him, right? And you can see the president is like, whoa, what next will happen from Moses Kuria? What will be coming from Moses Kuria's tongue? We have no idea, no sorting idea. Always waiting for the other shoe to drop, right? He's wrapped up with his own tongue. All right, on taxes, this is what Stano has drawn. Punda amekaliwa. Punda amekaliwa with the taxes. Should I tax the donkey for getting tired? All right, that's a probing question. All right, back to what we have on the standard there. Owen Bayer.
Yes, thank you very much, Dibal. That's interesting. You see, there's a maxim in law that says when you seek justice, you seek it with clean hands. When you seek equity, seek it with clean hands. Mm-hmm. The media cannot go lower than what they thought Moses Kuria has gone, because this cartoon actually goes much lower than what they said Moses has done, because you don't want really to say things that way. You know, they should have gone a notch higher than what they think Moses has done, because this is a very debased, a very low-level cartoon to appear in a national newspaper. And I think really? It should be called for what it is. It should be called for what it is. We should go higher. Yeah, the bidder should go higher than what Moses Kuria said. Media thinks that Moses Kuria went low. If they think that Moses Kuria went low on his remarks, then they should have gone higher than him, other than bring to the, to a national newspaper, a respectable national newspaper, to really put something like that. Actually I wouldn't want my child to look at that kind of a cartoon and interpret it, So I think media needs to do. But again, I also want to say this. I think I said it on this show, that I think the media has been very, very, very unfair. Not really unfair, not actually unfair, but they had gone too low in its attack on the Kenya Kwanza government. I think they have never come out of the campaign mode. They have been stuck there. They are surprised that William Ruto won this presidency, and they didn't want. Actually, the media, we know where the media was during the campaign, and they have continued that onslaught on the Kenya Kwanza.
But that is purely speculative and political.
We can prove.
Yes.
We can actually prove.
We just need to this. You've never seen this cup of proof that you've been talking about ever.
You just need to look.
Normally see they were biased, but we've never seen you tabling any report that they
What you need to do is just put the newspaper for the last 1 month here on the table, and you look at the headlines. And you look at what they really mean, and you will see a consistent story about how the media has had affront on the
Kenya Kwanza administration,
and that is something that is 101 You put it there and everybody, if you bring a foreigner into this country and who doesn't know anything about this country and to put all the 1 month newspaper on the floor and you tell them, I want you to give an analysis of what this media is saying. And they will tell you one thing, the media is very anti-government, has been for a long time, does not want this government to succeed. And that is simple. And I think Moses Kuria was pushed to the edge. And these newspaper headlines that we see every day actually push us to the edge every time. We look at it like, these guys, why are they so stuck in the campaign mode? Don't they realize that we have a government? We want to unify this country. They've been so stuck in trying to put a wage. I saw a small headline on The Nation. Ruto Gachagua plot to fix Wamuchomba. And I looked at that and I said, the president, when he was in, I think, Western, he was very clear and really said, why would your party leader force you to write a show cause letter because of voting the other way? You remember the letters that were written to ODM MPs by the party, and he was very clear. Why would your party want to punish you for the vote that you took in Parliament? Why would you do that? And that is the president's statement, meaning therefore he has no intention in any way to punish Mushomba or anything for taking the vote. Mushomba has a
but you just you've just read the headline. You need to read it contextually with the story itself at the back page of the Daily Nation.
No, it's so okay. I've read this story, but I saw this. I said, okay, you see what the media is trying to say. You know,
right?
They have had the president express himself very clearly.
Thank you.
But they go and write another story that actually tries to make the president look bad. I think this media should wake up to the realization that we have a government, and this government is going nowhere. It is here, and they just need to report things as they are. They cannot continue to fight this government. To what end? What is it gaining? To put a wedge between the government and the people?
All right.
Are they gaining anything?
Are we gaining anything? Let me hear from Tabitha as well. Just on that particular, I don't know if you hold with the view that Owen is, putting across this morning regarding, but your own reaction, assessment of what he was saying. He's been saying since, not even as a cabinet secretary, hacking back to 2017, those expletives tripping off his tongue so easily, and sometimes it just we let him go. And this time forth, now I think he had really pushed it to the edges as well. So what do you think, first of all? He says this particular editorial cartoon has sunk low. How should we have reacted as media?
Thank you, Dibal, for having us this particular morning. And let me start by critically saying and emphasizing that two wrongs do not make a right at any particular moment. We have Chapter 6 of the Constitution that guides our integrity as leaders. And I do not want to 100% support the sentiments of Moses as a leader. His tweet was very vulgar when he puts it out there in the terms that he's been able to use. And that's why I've started by saying two wrongs do not make a right. As a leader, at any particular time, we need to differentiate. I know and I acknowledge that media normally thrives best on controversies, on what is also negative. I want to agree that the kind of content that we see on the newspaper, the way it has been displayed, of course, does not really look so good, because media should not allow itself to be dragged into that particular space by this particular leader who has had history on the negativity, and now also how he comes out blasting media. Yesterday and the day before, you had the deputy president disagreeing also with him on the part of saying we're not going to give business to nation media. It is wrong because matters business, it's across board. It's not just for specifics. But now back to what I've also stated in the different medias, especially when we came to the finance bill. And I've said that media has also played the negative role. Because when it is started on the finance bill, it is started on trying to push us, especially on the government side, to discuss issues of commerce and full stop, not looking at the positivity of the elements in the bill, but trying to narrow the discussions of, you've said you have numbers, you've said you are going to vote, those who are going to vote, you've said you're not going to change a full stop and a comma, and really not allowing the discussion to be much more on the positivities, the benefits. Yes, also what does not look good, because it was not 100% good, but the way it has been coming out, the way it has been fronting, it has been really like trying to basically try to negate everything. But now back to the leader, Moses Kuria. He needs to know that he's a cabinet secretary. He needs to know that the younger generation is looking upon him to leave a legacy. How do you want to lead as a cabinet secretary? Do you want to lead frontline with all the time doing insults in this country? Then why are we accusing the youth when they do what they do? Because we should be able to offer them the right leadership. So in that particular aspect of his insults, because why then is he the only one? We have, how many cabinet secretaries do you have? How comes he's the one who has this chest stamping and coming out and trying to be so negative, especially to the fourth estate? It is not good. It is wrong. And moving forward, he should try and now know that he's doing international trade, try to bring in more business in this country. Businesses is about working relation, good communications, good talks between us and the other entities that want to join us. And he is a representative. He is the face of Kenya. So he should be able to put his cards with the eloquency that is needed, the decorum that is required. But we are still saying that also media has been very harsh on Kenya Kwanza. When the other discussion was there in terms of the president traveling, you want to base the discussion of traveling. You don't want to allow us to go deeper onto the why. You just want to bring onto how, the happenings of the how, but not the why. So you find that you're trying to shut the explanations of the why. You just want to smear the outer factor, which kind of is unfair. It is a high time you allow that we dig deeper into what you want to bring on table. If it is matters finance bill, let us discuss by finance bill away from we have numbers. Because if we have numbers, it is a crime to have numbers. Did we just wake up and have? We cultivated this number for a duration. We have a plan. We know how we are moving and all that. But yes, we have individuals who might be having weaknesses in one way or the other. We don't support that. But we have a plan. Allow us to talk about the plan. Allow us to talk about the manifestos that we have.
Right, but because it's not really the media which has been relaying the issues of numbers. It's been tripping off the tongue of actually the legislators themselves.
Is it wrong? Is it wrong to have numbers?
No, it's not wrong.
Correct.
So we just pick up what you were saying. And then you have come up as Kenya Kwanza saying, not even a jot or a tittle on this particular amendment is going to be revised. It's going to pass as is.
Everybody has freedom of speech.
Because it sounds very draconian.
Speech. Our colleagues were able to put in those sentiments, not a problem. That is their own version. But what I'm saying is that when we came to table, the media tried to push the discussion to be on that particular narrative that you put, that yes, we have numbers and we have commas. Those were sentiments for our colleagues, and they have a right for freedom of speech equally to how Azimio has also been able to bring out their concerns. But how comes you're not really bringing the narrative of the opposition? You're only bringing the narrative of the government side.
Okay, let me rope in Dan Manzo. I can see him yawning prodigiously. So I think his item now also should sip up some tea and tell us his version as well. Your own interpretation, do you really also hold the view of Warren Bayer and Tabitha regarding the media? And he thinks we've sunk too low as far as this. How will we have put it the wisest of fashion or the best of fashion to relay what Moses Kuria is all about? Because according to, if you may interpret this cartoon, according to Gado, and you can decipher it the way you really want, but according to me, this is what Moses has been saying is akin to what really also flows, is very shitty. I know it's not really a good word to use in the morning, but that is the contextual analysis or maybe the deciphering of this particular cartoon. But I'll leave it to you.
Yes, let me say first and foremost, Moses Kuria has a history. This is not the first time. And then secondly, he's a cabinet minister. So in a civilized nation, after he was exposed, he should have resigned, to allow others to serve the nation. What has happened is that the broad goods in the country, first of all, they exempt taxes illegally, and then they allow certain individuals, friends, make money, which is a corruption of the highest order, which is even worse than the newspapers report. So the newspapers report. So when the newspapers report, you cannot say that, give a directive against the law and against the constitution that, you see, for you to do business with the government, everybody tenders. When they win the tender, if they are the best, then they supply or they do the publications. So you cannot say any civil servant found to have given the nation newspapers business will be fired. First of all, before you fire anybody, there must be a process. So this is dictatorship of the highest honor, and it's really unfortunate. And in my own opinion, honestly, I've seen the deputy president attempt to differ with him. He should have taken the initiative, resigned, and unfortunately, we have not strengthened the ESCC. This is a matter which should be dealt with thoroughly, and there's a lot of corruption going on in government. Money has been, this is not the first scandal of this nature. I've been in Parliament for many years. I was in the Committee of Agriculture. There is even a time this cooking oil was supplied without footage, and even one time it was poisonous, and it was sold to Kenyans. So what has happened is terrible. Moses Kuria should apologize for it and go on to resign as a cabinet minister. The impression given internationally is terrible. So the cartoon is very befitting. That is exactly what happened. And not only that, they have not been paying the media. Now the media is surprised, then they are not paid, they become pendy bills, and then they come and tell the media almost, we will never pay you. So they want to create a basis that the media is unfair. The media has been as fair as it can get. And there is freedom of speech, but it comes with responsibility. It comes with responsibility. So, and again, when they talk about numbers which are stolen. You cannot boast of stolen numbers.
Hey, how?
First of all, immediately the House opened, Azimio had more members of Parliament than Kenya Kwanza. Then they bought small parties, and I'm speaking this, know very well what happened. They persuaded others. Let me use a better word. Let me not be like Moses Kuria. There was some persuasion of some sort. And then put numbers together which they know are not truthful. You see, in America, right now, Republicans are more than the Democrats, but the Democrats are the ones who are ruling. We have not seen the President of America buy, members from the Republican side or independents, so that his government could have majority, which majorities be used for dictatorship. There's no freedom. This is dictatorship of the highest order. And really Kenyans who vote, they must watch this. And Kenyans also who vote must give information to the media as to what happens on the voting day. The last time there was voting in this country, in most part of central Kenya and the Rift Valley, our engines of whatever type were not allowed on the polling stations up to 10:30. And before you start voting, you must turn the ballot boxes. So there was stuffing of ballot boxes, and we have that evidence now. It's not that when we are doing the petitions, everything doesn't come up.
That's okay,
everything doesn't come up immediately. The election petition time is limited. So this is a stolen government to begin with. You have a stolen government, you have stolen numbers, you are stealing from the people, you are overtaxing the people. A government which is behaving like that can only be sent home by the people of Kenya.
By the people of Kenya.
Those are very unfortunate remarks coming from a lawyer.
Will you allow me to just take a short break? Because even of the issue.
No, I think I need to.
You need to defend that. Okay.
Have a response on
Yeah,
this.
you want to strike the iron while it's still hot. So let me give you just 2 minutes then.
There are very unfortunate statements coming from a lawyer.
A senior counsel.
Yeah, the senior counsel as such, and somebody that I have had a lot of respect for as a lawyer and a colleague in the top parliament. To say it here on TV that election victory was stolen, now they have evidence. They had the Supreme Court.
Correct.
They had the government system then to ensure that there was no staffing, there was nothing. But for him to come and present baseless evidence, not even evidence, just rhetoric on national TV that elections were stolen. You know, he wants, and I think these are the brief they have, to continue to say things that cannot be proved so that it gets into the psyche of the nation that this government is in place properly. One, by dint of what IBC did, by dint of the Supreme Court ruling, it is in place properly, elected by the people of Kenya, given the mandate. And even the person who was on the side of Azimio, the former president, graciously handed over power to say that this person was validly elected and I give him the power to run this country. That is what happened, and that is what will not change for the next 5 years. William Ruto will continue to be the president of this country, and Kenya Kwanza will be the majority in this country, and they will do all things appertaining to that power to ensure Kenya goes forward. And this dream that they have that this government will be removed, where, how? And this is the narrative they want to sell in the streets, that they are going to undermine so that this government can be brought down and they install a new government. This lawyer knows that you cannot install a new government in this country by any other means apart from election. And they have this dream that they can actually one day bring this government and install another leader without an election. What kind of, in fact, when they talk about dictatorship, you know, I do not know, I need to check the age of my friend to understand whether he knows what dictatorship is. When when Idi Amin was there, when the strong man in Burkina Faso was, when the other strong men were there, when they talk about, loosely talk about dictatorship, do they really understand what this word really means when they want to put it in the Kenyan context? This country is democratic. We have a democratically elected president, and we have a Democrat in State House.
My music is up. It's time for a station break.
It's democratic rights.
To steal.
To say what he wants to say.
We continue to broach that issue. And also, when you talk about numbers, we have now also some lawyers who've moved to the courts to challenge the majority in the House. So you'll tell us regarding that as well, these particular numbers that has been touted that yes, you are